back. I'm Jamie, Formable Fabrications. So here is a little project I was just going to throw out here for you guys. Nothing crazy, but it's just strange. So to give you a quick rundown of what this project is, the contractor I'm working for this time has a pillar. It's essentially this big, that this sheet of steel goes on top of, and it is anchored in with all thread that's going to go into open cinder blocks and then get cemented around to hold it in place. And then on the top there's going to be two pieces of all thread that hold up a U-bracket. Let's see if I can get in on this here. Right there. So there's a U-bracket that sits on top that holds 4x6 pressure treated lumber for a pergola. So I need to build 4 of these, 4 U-brackets. So this sheet is 1/4 inch steel with 1/2 inch all thread rods on the bottom, 1/2 inch all thread on the top. The U-bracket is a little heftier with 3/8 steel. It's like a 10 by 7, 10 long, 7 high, and it is for a 4 by 6. So anyway, so the local metal supplier actually cuts the 1/4 inch sheet for me within 1/8 of an inch tolerance. So I get 24 by 24 pieces cut and delivered for minimal cost at that, which is a lot cheaper than I could even do it. And then just normal all thread. I just cut it real quick with a wire wheel, a zip wheel, and the edges are just, I taper them a little bit. You get a little bit more welding on, a little more penetration on the welding. So, and that's all. The hardest part is honestly just keeping everything 90 degrees true, especially on the top, because these have to be perfectly centered and aligned, and the U-bracket that sits on top has 2 holes that have to slide over this so far. So what this is going to be, this is going to be on top of the column, but it's going to be between a pyramidal shaped concrete cap, and then the U-bracket sits on top, and then the wood sits on top of that. But let's get started on the welding. I got the corners marked where I need to weld. I just need to tack them in place, make sure they're square, and then to weld them up around, flip it upside down, and then on the other side we'll weld the 2 pieces that go up for the U-brackets. So pretty simple. So like I said, they have to be square. That's the biggest thing. So if we get a baseline square on it, just a small tack. And once they're tacked in place, then I can adjust them as needed as long as the tack isn't too big. Yeah, just enough where I can still move it. You can move it just a hair. Tack it. Cool. Luckily, I don't have to worry about imperfections in the welding as far as what it looks like. anybody out there knows there's something good that can hold this up, I don't do this that often, but it would be nice to have something. I have one of those magnetic triangles, but it's not enough force to hold it. So there's 2 done. Actually, the other side isn't imperative either what the welds look like, because there's going to be a big cement cap on there that's rounded out on the inside with the holes for these, and then that cap on the underside is chamfered too for the weld that's going to be around them. So it's not a huge deal either way. It just looks nicer. You know, I don't really think the guy even really cares, but at the end of the day, when he looks at it and he sees the attention that I put into it, that just makes the difference of, you know, even though he says he doesn't care, everybody cares. All right. Now, for those of you that have welded before, you know that the heat can distort stuff and bend it. But for those who haven't, when the heat gets around here and gets all this metal nice and gooey, you can actually move this thing back and forth while you're welding it, because everything is so liquefied in there. It's actually really neat. So I couldn't pull it this way any further because the weld on the back side was holding me, and the metal on this side was keeping me from going down any further. But once I got it liquefied and hot, I was able to bend it just enough to get it almost perfectly straight. And that's one of the cool things I like of working with metal versus wood. Wood isn't forgiving like metal is. Like I always tell everybody, I like working with metal. If I screw up, I can fill it in with weld and regrind it, and no one would be the wiser. I just don't have the patience for wood. Give it a shake, say that ain't going anywhere, and that is solid. just like when you strap something on the back of your truck. If you don't say it's not going to go anywhere, it's not strapped in tight. See, what's kind of cool right there is, as I'm holding it to the square, you can feel the metal being pulled this way because of the weld on this side. So once I weld it on this side, it'll actually straighten it right back up. Normally I wouldn't use vice grips to mess with all thread, but considering that the threads aren't the big issue, it's having rough metal for the concrete to hold into. If I was actually running nuts up and down this, I would not be using vice grips. This client has a special place in my heart, especially after today. He just came and picked up those square tube post holders I put on the last video. And he saw the dune buggy back here. And I mentioned to him how I have so much fiberglass work to do. He said, "Oh, that's simple." What? Oh yeah, I like doing fiberglass work. I honestly never heard anybody in my life say they like doing fiberglass work, so needless to say, I was ecstatic. Ecstatic. No one likes doing fiberglass work. This guy said he likes doing fiberglass work. He's never done fiberglass work before. It is dirty and smelly, and it is very uncomfortable the day after because of all the glass particulate in the fiberglass. I've done it before. I'm not a fan of doing it again. But if I have someone like him helping me, I'll consider it. It's either I pay out my ass for a marina to do it and charge me ridiculous amounts of money, or pay a Corvette guy to do it, which he's a Corvette guy, and still pay ridiculous amounts of money, or pay tractor trailer company to do it and pay them lots of money. So yeah, finding out this guy likes doing it, oh man. In the midst of my excitement, I did forget to mention, I did line this up, mark the holes while I was blabbing about the buttons, and got it pretty freaking square. all. Get little beads of crap everywhere else. Alright, number 2, and then we're done this one. Crazy too. I gotta hold this thing because if it's still hot and I let go, it'll just move this way. So I gotta hold it until it cools down. I don't feel the pressure of the rod being pulled towards the weld. And that pulled it straight back. Perfect. Not perfect. 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 Okay, so it's done. It's not perfectly smooth, but it looks good. And this piece fits right on there. Of course, there's going to be a cement cap that goes between the bracket and the top, but that's it. So there's one done. I just got to make 3 more, one for each of these plates. So it is getting late and I'm cold and hungry, so I'll see you tomorrow.